Hey, it's Gabe with API Nation. I want to show you something awesome we just made for Transaction zipForm Edition users. It's going to save you a ton of time and get you more organized. Take a look. Here we are in Transaction zipForm Edition. We have a bunch of transactions. You have a ton of transactions, which means you have a ton of contacts. It also means you have a lot of dates floating around. Wouldn't it be great if all the contacts you have attached to your transactions, all these people, and all the dates, the checklists, all that stuff was automatically synced onto your mobile phone so that you can check it while you're on the go? And also, if you got to talk to any of these parties, you got to call the seller, the agent, that number is already synced to your phone. You can just dial them up, you can text them, so easy. We can do it by syncing all these contacts and these dates to Google Contacts and labeling them as zipForm, and Google Calendar, so that you can have them on your phone. They're already synced, they're arranged, you're way more organized and way more productive. Also, it's way easy to set up. Let me show you. You're just gonna go to apination.com. I'll put the link below in the description. You're gonna click on Connect to zipForm. It's gonna ask you for your username, the username you use to log into zipForm, the password you use to log into zipForm, and then a good email address where we can reach you. So I'll go ahead and fill that out. And hit connect. Great. Now I just got to connect Google Contacts. So I'm going to hit this button and choose the Google account I want the contacts from zipForm synced to. That's my professional account, so I'll go ahead and choose that one and allow it. Same thing with Google Calendar. I'm going to connect Google Calendar. I'm going to choose that same Google account and allow. And this is it. This is the last step. We could launch these syncs and become way more organized. We're just going to look at a few of the options before we launch. Sync all on first run. By having this box checked, it just means all the transactions, all the contacts from those transactions you've done historically will get synced into Google Contacts, as well as transactions you create and update in the future. I probably want that. Most people probably want that, so we check that by default. Next, you can sync them over by transaction status. So we figure you probably want dates and contacts from active and pending transactions. If you also want closed, which you may want so that you can have anybody you've done business with in the past. Prospecting, just in case you got to call somebody you're still considering. Or if you just want to do all, you can do that too. I'm going to go with active, pending, closed, and prospecting. Then you can go ahead and select the team you would like. I only have that one team, so I'm going to stick with that. And now when you're sending it over to Google Calendar, you can actually send it to your default calendar, which is great because this is my professional account, so that's totally fine with me. Or I can create a new calendar if I'd like, which is great to keep things separate, more organized, especially if you're creating a lot of dates for a lot of transactions for like an office. I'm going to leave it on my default calendar, because this is my personal transactions to my professional Google account. Similar thing with the contacts. I'm actually going to put my contacts in a folder or a label in Google Contacts. So I'm going to call these contacts from zipForm. Great. And now I can choose to sync all the transaction dates to Google Events, as well as the participants to Google Contacts. This is looking great. Final question. If we find a match between the contacts in zipForm and Google Contacts, should we assume that Google Contacts is the authority, in which case we'll just fill in the blanks from transactions? Or should we assume that Transaction zipForm Edition is the authority, in which case we'll override it? I'm going to go ahead and overwrite it. I put all my good information in Transaction zipForm Edition. I rarely hop into Google Contacts to update stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and overwrite it with that information. Hit start. And there we go. We can now see we have two active workflows, two little automations that are always checking zipForm to see if we have any new contacts to send to my phone, if there's been any new dates scheduled that I can send to the phone, or if maybe my assistant changed any of these dates, moved a task around, and it has a new date, and that will still get updated so I can plan out my days, weeks, and months way more effectively. So now all the people I do business with and the appointments I have scheduled are ready to go in my pocket. So we hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, ideas, shoot us an email, give us a phone call. We're API Nation, connecting the world's applications. We love doing this stuff.